אני עומדת באמבטיה ערומה מול המראה. מה ההבדל בין גוף לגופה? מה ההבדל בין גוף לגופה?
First, I want to say what a pleasure and honor it is to welcome you, to welcome the creators of this unforgettable, extraordinary short feature film. Would you kindly tell us, first of all, how the making of this film came about?
Me and Nir met in a different project that actually had nothing to do with the 7th of October, and his story at that moment was like he finished writing it around the time I think that we met and started working together, and we enjoyed the work, and then he just approached me about maybe directing it as a show in the beginning, because I'm mainly a theater director.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's actually the first movie I've worked on.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
so I mainly come from theater. I think that's also correct for Reut. And so we began. It began as a theater piece that we actually incorporated with a dancer. Like there was a live performance of it, and then it wasn't received as well as we would have hoped. And pretty quickly we understood that there is a that I kind of understood that if I somehow managed to create a psychedelic vibe with cinema, that can be the medium that we should go for, because we knew that we want to work with trance music, and we knew this is kind of a spoken word piece. So cinema felt like the more accurate direction to take.
Why did you decide on animation?
Because of this reason, I actually like I've never animated anything in my life before that, and
Amazing.
and so the amazing and also scary thing with AI is that if you put a lot of work and thinking into it, you can actually create pretty crazy images with it that are actually communicative, and not only like shallow AI images that we see a lot on the internet a lot of times. And then I saw some videos that had really psychedelic, weird animation in them that I really liked. And then I was like, well, this is the aesthetic that I'm looking for.
Wow.
And then every video that I saw, I read, and it was AI. And I was like, okay, so maybe that's something that I should go for. So it was like not me being interested with animation and AI, it was me feeling like this psychedelic animation is the language that is accurate for this material, and then AI was the solution, kind of.
You said this was
Yeah.
the first, I heard you correctly, but I almost believe you. You said this was actually your first uh, film using these images and voice and sound and putting this all together in this way. Is that I heard you right? Heard you
Yeah.
right.
No,
Just
I did a little bit of video editing when I was in art school, but it was very like
limited.
I learned the basics of the technical, but I'm coming from theater.
Gotcha.
Theater is my main.
Okay. So would you consider enlarging this to a longer feature film, or are you?
Yes,
Yes.
that's something we also talked about. I talked about it with Nir, and also we have several other ideas, and I feel like this thing with the AI is something that I also, regardless of the artistic endeavor, like I feel like it's something that is really interesting for me, and there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
to explore there. So yeah, but it's all like in terms of like we're getting a budget and finding the right opportunity for it to happen. So
Of course. How do you feel when people watch this? How do you feel knowing that people are watching this? How do you feel when you get responses to it?
that's something probably Nir can also speak of more in length. But I think all of us were really worried while we were working on it. We were really, really worried about the reaction of the survivors themselves and their families because we haven't been there ourselves. And I think, especially Neil, of course, but also me and Reut, I think know people who have been there and people from the kibbutzim. So it's not, we live here. Like it's not that it's foreign to us in any way, but we haven't been there. So like we were working on it a year ago. So this was extremely early
Wow.
after October. So we started working on the film in January 24th. So it was right after it happened, and everything was so fresh and vivid, and that's something we were really worried about. People not feeling like we are taking advantage of their stories in order to kind of promote ourselves or stuff like this. And then I feel like from the small portion of people who have been there that or are like intimately connected to people who have been there that I talked to, the reactions were not all of them, but most of them were good and important. Like I have a friend whose brother has been to the like in the Nova, and she told me that this is basically like the only piece she was kind of able to see because it's not like a documentary and you see the vivid, horrible images. It's kind of not detached, but it has a certain distance from the actual experience. It's like an aesthetic distance. So that was kind of our aim, to create something that will be um, visible for both people here and people abroad who are more distant.
I was expecting you to say that you are so pleased to have brought this to people, and that it, bearing witness like this and allowing people to asking people to bear witness is a good feeling, that you've created something that is. But instead, as a good Jewish boy, you go to guilt, and did I do the right thing?
You can ask the other two. I think they're even worse than me. So.
Oh, okay. I will ask them. Thank you, Nir. So I will ask you. I think yes. I'll ask you the same question.
Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, it is our life's mission to bring the story out.
Right.
Because as much as people, I mean, we've been there. I mean, I've been treating patients from the Nova from about day one or day two. And as much as people know about it, they don't know the whole magnitude of it. Because in a way, many of the people who've been there, many of the people in the media spare people of the details themselves. I mean, one of my patients actually said it was something on a biblical scale. I mean, the things that happened there are unimaginable. I mean, the only comparable matrix is like the matrix of meaning of the Holocaust in ways. I mean, that's the only way to think about the things that happened there. And as much as you listen to testimonies from the victims and from people from the Shura army base camp, who are the ones who are identifying the bodies and taking care of the deceased, as many details as you hear, you realize that it's been something completely different from anything that we've known. Completely different in terms of the details, in terms of the whole thing was people on psychedelic drugs trying to run for their lives from people who were possibly using some sort of stimulant drugs. And it had this weird combination of youth and violence and sexual violence and religion. And it was just like the whole thing just like compressed into one spot, one weird spot in history that was just like beyond, I mean, unimaginable. It was beyond any way to think about it. And it was our way, on the one hand, to bring some of the story out, and on the other hand, not to take anyone's specific story because of the ethical reasons. I mean, me as a psychologist, I had more access to people's stories than other people. And I was very careful not to use their stories because it's their own and they have to tell them like in their own voice if they want to, if they wish to. So it's been like a very intricate work trying to recreate a story, but not anyone's specific story in a way which actually reflects the reality which was there. And we're never pleased or we're never at peace at the result. I mean, as for myself, I'm never, I mean, I try not to ask people how they feel about the movie or if they've ever watched the movie. Specifically people from the Nova. I have many patients from the Nova. I've never asked a single one to watch the movie. I actually hope they didn't watch it.
Why?
Because in a way it's better to separate between my two hats,
Yeah.
as a writer and a psychologist. But like at the end of a funeral procession in Judaism, the thing at the end is that you ask for the deceased forgiveness in terms of in case you just in a way violated Kvod Hamet. I don't know how to what's the
Honor of the dead, to honor the dead.
Yeah, the honor of the dead. So in a way, that was what was guiding our whole working process on it. I mean, just like making sure that we don't violate, we don't in a way deviate from our strict attachment to the honor of the dead. So we're never happy about this work. We're never satisfied. We're just hoping that in a way we can just like spread the story outwards.
In Israel, have you had people who are not survivors who have watched this? Have you gotten a reaction to it there?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we actually.
And what was that?
Okay. In a way, it's ethically complicated because many of the people who haven't been there or who haven't been victims of other arenas, other fields in October 7th, we're very grateful for the opportunity to look into it, to realize and to see in words and in text, in animation, what was happening, trying to figure out the experience of being in the Nova Festival. On the other hand, we got like responses from people who were other victims of October 7th, not specifically from the Nova, but who were in a way concerned or angry that somebody who was not there is creating something about it. I mean, in a way, like that in a way we're claiming to ourselves the narrative and not letting the victims create the narratives for themselves. And actually, I mean, I can see the point there. I can definitely see the point there. On the other hand, anyone should tell the story in their own way. I mean, and in as many opportunities as you can.
I just want to say that I also feel like there is a portion here that we haven't spoken about yet, which is like the international audience, with which I feel like we have the least amount of dilemmas, and and also that the reaction was very, very meaningful. Because there is not like the questions of claiming, reclaiming, all of that is not involved, then they just can look at it as an art piece and as the story that it brings. And I really feel like from the comments that I received, and it was like when it was screened in front of a live audience, like I really, really felt like people were reacting to it in a way that like they felt like they were enabled to see in a more personal and direct way how people are feeling after experiencing something like this, which of course we can't say that it's exactly the experience of somebody, but but I feel like it manages to bring to an audience like a certain experience of what it is to just experience grief and pain in a way that we all know, but is more extreme in a situation like this one.
I have a question for both of you. There's a recurrent line in by the way, I watched it 5 times just to let you know, and each time I saw something more. There was a line that, in Hebrew, Ma'avdel ben guf v'gufa. And yes, and so it was translated as what's the difference between a body and somebody. Is that an accurate translation, or is it what is the meaning? What is the meaning for you of that line?
It's a difficult question. I mean, it's very difficult to answer this, but I'll try.
Thank you.
There's no nice way to say it, but on the Nova and on other sites, people were in a way stripped from both from their honor and from their own body. I mean, the body was like disassembled. In a way, the same disassembly is both mental and physical. I mean, people who survived in a way felt that, I mean, they still do feel numb. They do feel dead in a way, but not physically, but mentally dead. And this whole situation of being stripped from your body, stripped from your soul, stripped from your weight, from your ability to control your fate, to control your life, to control your mind. In a way, you're not certain anymore if you're being dead or alive. And when you look at yourself, and the main character and the protagonist in the movie is looking at her body, her living body, and it's the same body that she saw lying naked in the massacre fields of the Nova Festival. And what's the difference between the body and a body and a carcass? What makes it different? Where does the soul lie? I mean, what's the difference between a body and a body plus a soul? And it's a very difficult moment to realize that you're not sure anymore that you're dead or alive. I mean, I can see a lot with the people working who used to work at the rabbinate, at the Shura base, that you deal so much with the mechanics of death, and you deal so much with the physicality of death that it in a way it loses its meaning. I mean, on a day, sorry for being so long, but
No, thank you.
On a daily basis, on normal life, there's like a very clear line between the land of the living and the land of the death. I mean, death is something very far away, very far, remote from our own lives. And after October 7th, this line has been like blurred, significantly blurred. People are living like in a mixed reality of being alive and death, both mentally and physically.
Reut, you were the voice of this young woman, and and I wondered how you prepared yourself for this role. Right.
Wow. Okay, I watched a lot of materials, obviously. I want to say all of the people I know in Israel got videos on Telegram and the same day of horrifying images. So I saw a lot of testimonies and videos of people speaking after the massacre in the Nova, and also videos of stuff that happened while in the massacre, documentary of live stuff happening there. I wonder if to share, Netanel, about the video you showed me of
I don't know what you're talking about, but
exactly.
Yeah,
So
I know.
I
No,
came to
that was
that.
a powerful like moment in the rehearsal space. Yeah.
Yeah. I also had a few friends that weren't in the Nova eventually, but they are from the community. They were supposed to go. They had a few friends over there. So it's since it's a small country, everybody knows anyone knows anyone. Um, and what Nathaniel and I just talked about, I came to the rehearsals room. We had about 3 or 4 sessions of recordings, if I'm not wrong. Also, Nathaniel and I met between those to work on the text and to rehearse between ourselves before to arrive prepared to the recording room with Eitan. Um, I needed to do some physical vocal preparations, obviously. The mental preparations were more complicated this time than other projects I participated in, especially because I will relate to what Neil said. Everything is really still, um, I want to use the word alive, but I'm not sure it's the right word to use. Maybe more like pumping. It's still, everything is still really happening. And I think all of us came to this project trying to, at least me, trying to figure out how to process everything that's happening in our home. And it was a way to maybe to also to process and to liberate some stuff that we feel um, and fears that we have. And how to say it in English?
It's in Hebrew.
שאלות קיומיות.
Enormous questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Nathaniel at one point in the rehearsing room, because I at one point I got stuck, and I felt like it's not.
But I would just say, because you asked about it specifically, you asked about the sentence of the "מה ההבדל בין גוף לגופה," like what's the difference between a body and a somebody, and it was while we were working on this specific scene and this specific thing. Yeah.
I think because Nathaniel, thank you for that, because it's this line was so out there for us also during the process, and Nir said, and for a true reason, it's hard to explain. And I came to it so to all this project and to the text, I came so all of us so humble, and it was Chirdat Kodesh. I don't know how to say that in English.
A holy what?
Reverence.
Reverence, holy reverence. Yes. Yeah, I
Thank
totally
you, guys.
understand that. Absolutely.
So I feel like it's a specific expression.
Yeah.
So at one point, Netanel told me there's a video I want you to see, and he showed it to me only in the rehearsals room, which was brilliant of him as a director. And it was a testimony of Hufzetnik, who's a Holocaust survivor and also a writer. He was in Auschwitz. And in this testimony, it was in the trial of Eichmann. At some point, first of all, you can hear he's a writer from the way he just expresses himself. And at some point, you see him going to, he's experiencing, I don't know if it's a dissociative experience. I don't know how to call it, Nita saying, yes, you're the professional man. And that was what Nathaniel aimed me to. And I didn't know how to bring it. And I saw it. And obviously I have my own roots. All the stories got mixed up together. And I guess something inside me just understood something from it in a physical way, nothing I can really explain. And I saw the video, and we started recording, and then something worked. My voice, my whole being was at a different place. אנחנו היינו חומר, אנחנו היינו רוח, אנחנו עדיין רוח, ונפתח לנו עוד רגע נפתח לנו.
This movie really did something that I don't think others have done, in my opinion. And I've seen a lot of Holocaust movies, and read a lot. This movie really, with the images and the narrative and the music, you have to tell this to Eitan. The music
Is not is a huge part of this. Definitely.
huge. Yes,
Absolutely.
Yes.
the music, all of it did something that very few mediums can do, to bring you into the minds of, the heart of, the trauma of someone in this situation, and the aftermath. Afterwards, the scenes in the bathroom of her looking at herself and thinking the guilt, the survivor's guilt, and the out of body experience that you described, being alive, being dead, going through. I won't go through all of them, but I have to say, for me personally, this was an unbelievably unforgettable movie, film that will stay with me, because it did something that very few things have done in terms of explaining. I would say to my father, see, there is something that can really bring you into that world, that can explain something. As you said, you can't explain everything. You weren't there. That's why I said to you also, kol hakavod, that you, despite all your trepidations, that you did it. It's really a remarkable piece. And I thank you. I thank you for this interview. I thank you for this amazing film. Really, it will last. It's just remarkable. I mean, so, and you mentioned, and again, as a child of survivors, I get how difficult it is to really convey, capture the feelings, the story, the terror, the horror, the guilt, all of the things that you expressed in this. And I thank you. Just, can't say more than that. Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Really
That's really empowering to hear in many ways.